All right, so I'm gonna have videos on how to download Visual Studio. All right, um, but I'm not sure. There were students last semester. I think Visual Studio has upgraded and changed their just changed certain things, and there were a few students that were struggling with using Visual Studio. Now, Visual Studio, this is kind of twofold. Like, I would suggest trying to get Visual Studio to work. All my videos are in Visual Studio, but at the same time, this is a programming class. I don't want you struggling too much with downloading Visual Studio and dealing with the compiler issues. You should be worried about more with the coding issues. Okay. So this video is going to show you how to use the easiest compiler you'll ever use, and what's great about it, that I have a PC, so if you text me and say that you're having issues with your Mac, I don't have access to a Mac. I've never used a Mac. It's kind of like a shot in the dark where, I'll give you my cell number and we'll text back and forth, and I'll send you videos and, hey, does this work? And then you try it and you write back, no, it doesn't. So then I have to go look for another video and send it to you. And this has always been one of the biggest pains of teaching online, is getting everybody on the same page, since everybody has different computers and different stuff like that. So this is going to be, I'm just going to show you how to use the easiest compiler that you're going to find. Okay, so there'll be lots of videos where I demonstrate everything in Visual Studio. Okay, code is code, whether you're on whatever compiler you're on. It really doesn't matter. The code's going to be the same. So in my demonstrations, I obviously made my videos in Visual Basic. I am not going to go back and make the same videos using my online program, which is awesome. This thing's called Online. So let's type this in: Onlinegdb.com. Okay, so if you want to use this whole semester, there's only one thing that's a little bit different than Visual Studio, but the rest of it you could use here. So when you get to this, what's nice is you can create an account and log in and log out. When you create your account, it's linked to your Google account. If you haven't created a Google account, I would suggest doing that, because with that, then you can use Google Docs, and there's some other software that's really nice with the Google account. And so what's nice about this compiler is you select the language, and for this we'll select C++, but there's a bunch of different languages you can use. Now, this isn't as good a compiler as Visual Studio, and we would run into issues if you were to do certain things, but for this class, I think everything you're going to need to do will be in here. Okay, so once you have this, notice how you've got your main CPP file. If when we get to object oriented at the end and you're using multiple files, all you do is say file, and you'll call it whatever you want to call it, blah, and then you got to give it the .cpp file or .h for the header files. All right, but they'll all be in the same folder. Okay, and so then you just click the run button when you're done running your program. In this case, this is going to display hello world, and then your output's right there. Okay, so when you turn in your source code for each project, and your projects, this would be for more like your capstone project. Your other projects are going to be graded through the Cengage book. Okay, so anyway, but if you wanted to turn in your capstone project because you built it on this, all you do is just download the code, and you can save it and then download it. Let's see here, save, give it a project name, and then it'll be in the folder. And then I downloaded that before, and I don't know. Either way, it came out as a text file, and this is in it. All right. So this video is also going to serve the purpose of me showing you. There's one thing different now. you will have projects where you need to do file input output and you're reading files, okay? And I demonstrate this in a video called what's it called? It's called like importing, exporting, file handling, and I show you this in Visual Studio, okay? And so all the code's in Visual Studio. Now it's going to read where like my employees.txt and new salary.txt files are in my folder directories, okay? But what's nice about this is that again, we can use this. It's the exact same code as what you saw in Visual Basic. Here's your employees.txt file. So you'd have to type all that in there, and you have to, file new, and then name it employees.txt, and then you'd have your new salary.txt file. And so right here, instead of having the folder directory that's on your actual computer with the the employees.txt file and new salary.txt file, it's in this folder here, and there's employees, and so it will read it right there, employees.txt and new salary.txt. Notice there's nothing in new salary. So when I run this, okay, you've got your information and it's changed and it displays right there, okay? So again, in your capstone project, if you do file input output, you can still use this as instead of Visual Basic. So I think you can use Onlinegdb for anything you're doing. And again, this is nice because if you're on a Mac, you can jump on this and then you and I can be on the same page, and it's online, and so it's kind of nice. So check this out. Again, I would suggest trying to get Visual Studio to work, just because you're giving yourself an opportunity to learn about a compiler, but I don't want you to spend a lot of time with it, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on my end testing, because I know that this right here works, and all I really care about is getting the code to run and you learning how to code. So that's the end of this video.